In this lesson, we're going to talk about how we want to break apart the text for the tone shift header, and then also we'll just set that up in a way that looks appealing and sets it apart from the other headers we have in our infographic. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down here, and you can kind of see what this is looking like so far. So I've kind of got two small blocks here at the top, and I know that they're going to be small just based on the amount of information you have in that Word document. So it might be helpful for you to just go through that Word document really quickly. It's going to be the one that says Coral Reefs and Overview in your Documents folder inside of your project files, and just get an idea kind of for how much information we have per section. Now, right here is going to be kind of where this header is that I'm talking about. So we have a pretty big section for our humans and a pretty big section for talking about that destruction. So we're going to break that just right there in the middle. So if you want to zoom in on a specific point, you can hold Alt just while you have your selection tool and arrow in right to that point, and that's going to help you, just zoom in a little bit easier. Now, let's go ahead and create this header. So we know what the text is going to say. So first I'm going to create kind of a little backing plate, just like we did for our blue pieces of, the ones with the little triangle at the bottom. So we'll just kind of drag this across here. And this one's going to be a little bit bigger than the ones that we've had so far. And we may need to go in there and make it smaller later on, but for now I'll just kind of stick with this size. And we'll go ahead, come over here to our swatches, and this one I'm going to make that yellow color. So it's really bold, and against the other pieces, this is going to be something that really catches your eye when you're looking at this as a whole. So we'll kind of zoom in there, maybe move this down just a little bit, and we can definitely rearrange this once we get our content in here. So let's go ahead and grab that Word document, and we'll come up here and copy and paste this header. So go ahead and copy that, and then we'll just hit Control-V to paste it. And now let's figure out where we want to break this. So it says, at the present rate of destruction, 70% of coral reefs may be gone in less than 40 years. So to me, this has a really obvious break pattern here. So at the present rate of destruction is a statement in and of itself. So let's go ahead and just break that right there. And also, just having that 70% on its own line is really pretty astounding. So I think that that's nice as well. So 70% of coral reefs may be gone in less than 40 years. So let's go ahead and put may be gone in on its own line as well. So we've got 70% of coral reefs kind of isolated, and then we'll put, let's put in less than 40 years on its own line. So we've got, at the present rate of destruction, 70% of coral reefs may be gone in less than 40 years. And then let's go ahead and kind of add some leading to this, because that was kind of hard for me to read. So we'll go ahead and just increase that so it's more readable, and again we'll go in there and customize this a little bit more as we work. And definitely at the present rate of destruction is important, but it's not as important of 70% of coral reefs may be gone in less than 40 years. So let's go ahead and add our treatment of the Adobe Garamond to this. So what I can do, instead of going in and changing all of those, is just highlight what I want to change, then come over here and grab my eyedropper tool. So that's going to be right there. And then I'm just going to toggle back over to the hand tool really quickly by holding the space bar. I guess it looks like if I hit the space bar while I'm in that text editing mode, it's going to delete my text. So what I'm going to have to do is just zoom out here so that I can see both at the same time, instead of trying to drag that up. Then we'll go ahead and I'm just going to highlight that again. We'll grab that eyedropper tool and just hover over the Garamond text that you see right there. And that's going to change it for you without you having to go in there and set that up. So very helpful. Now, just because I have this light color doesn't mean that I can't use white, especially in this case. These are not very contrasty. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn that to a white, and I can just click that. It's going to be an easy way for me to get white, and then I'll just turn the stroke off. So you can see that gives me a lot more contrast. That looks a lot better. Let's go ahead and change 70% of coral reefs to, let's see, instead of having it be black, let's change that to our light color. Now, because this is so much more bold, it's going to look a little bit better anyway, but still, I think it could be a little bit lighter. So what I can do is just double click in that fill, and then instead of taking that all the way to a full white, we'll just kind of go halfway, so about right there. And now we've got this color that still looks like all the rest of our colors, but it still looks like it's, you know, this swatch whenever it's on that yellow. So, you know, take stuff like that into consideration. Now let's go ahead and change our May Be Gone text to match this, but then we're going to bump up our size a little bit. So again, I'll just highlight it, grab my eyedropper tool, we'll eyedrop that, and then I'm going to bump that up so that it's larger. And then we'll probably want to come in here and just add a little more leading, make it more readable. And then my in less than 40 years, I'm going to make larger as well. So 70% of coral reefs may be gone in less than 40 years. So this is looking really good. I want to change this in less than 40 years. Instead of just having it be black, let's choose that dark blue that we have there. And I also want to add some more contrast to the may be gone piece of text. So what I'll do is just kind of create another sort of solid behind here that's going to be that color. Now I want my text to be on top of this, so I'll go ahead and select that, right click it, and we'll go to Arrange, Bring to Front. You can also use a keyboard shortcut to do that. Now this piece of text looks very white, so I'm going to go ahead and select that, and we'll change that to our other swatch just so we kind of are bringing that back down a little bit. And now let's go ahead and play with just kind of the way that we have this set up. So I feel like definitely our leading could use a little bit of work here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull that out. And let's go ahead and align this with our artboard. So I'll go up here to Align. We'll do a horizontal align center. And then we'll kind of arrow this up a bit. And now that this is in the center, we're really close to that 70% of coral reefs being on the inside of our margins. So let's go ahead and just kind of make this fit in that column a little bit better. So I'm going to turn down that size. Just right there, about 32 is going to help that. And we can track it out maybe just a little bit more just to make that fit a little better here on the right. Now the 7 is getting a little close here on the left, and the S isn't that close yet. So I'll just hold Alt and arrow that over, just so we're basically adjusting that kerning, but there's no letter on this side. So that's another way just to kind of force that to fit where you want it to be. And then we'll move this back down here. And less than 40 years looks pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll push that down a little bit more. And that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to go ahead now and just grab this bar, and let's extend this all the way from side to side. So I'm just kind of pulling that all the way to the edges of that bleed. And this yellow bar is a little bit big. I think we can maybe drag this down a little bit, just make this space a little bit more small, a little bit more manageable. And I think we could kind of echo this blue line with something a little more subtle, maybe in between at the present rate of destruction, that also kind of shows just that movement forward. So going forward at the present rate of destruction, we could use a really interesting little arrow here, I think. So let's go ahead and grab our pen tool, and I'm just going to start right here at the edge of at, and then again hold the Shift key and click forward, just like that. And let's make sure that we only have that line selected. And I'm going to also deselect that back part so we only have that line selected. Let's go ahead, swap that so we've got our stroke on top, and we'll come in here, let's make that our dark navy color, and then let's come over to the stroke panel and start to play around with our options here. So I want to see those options. So we've got lots of things to choose from, and I'm going to mess with the arrowheads here. So this column here is going to be what is on the left side of the arrow, and this column will be what's on the right side. So I want it to be moving forward from left to right, the direction that you would read in. So on the left hand side, we want it to be the end of our arrow. So we'll come down here. This is a nice little end of an arrow, so we'll go ahead and choose that for now. And then come over here to the right side, and let's just pick this first arrowhead you see right there. So really easily, we've made a nice, very, subtle little piece that helps to pull that statement forward and causes you just to, keep, you want to keep reading on to get the rest of that message. So at the present rate of destruction, 70% of coral reefs may be gone in less than 40 years. And maybe something nice we could do is track this in less than 40 years out so that it is matching this same width there. There's no reason really to have a third change in the line width. So let's come back over here to our character panel, and I'll just pull that out to those edges. So that's just tracked out to 50 now. So now we have kind of that nice little bold statement there, and I'm just going to go ahead and select all of those and hit Control G to group them together, and that's just going to kind of help to keep that together a little bit better. We could do this for our other pieces as well. So I'm just selecting them, hitting Control G, just so that if we want to move something or if something gets bumped, it's not going to change our design, and it'll be a little bit easier to fix when we go back. So now we have all of our headers set up, and it's time to go in and set up our secondary headers that are going to just kind of talk about what are some of the main things under these main bullet points here. So kind of going into that next level of information and how we're going to be treating that, and we'll talk about how to do that in our next lesson.